Yo guys, it's me Matrix here. It's been a while, but I'm bringing you some more content. This time, we are starting up the Lord Helix Draft League Season 2. It's the first round. There's 2 new teams joining us for this season. I haven't actually done much content around the Lord Helix Draft League on my channel. I think I've got a couple live streams from some of the gym challenges that we did way back mid-year. And I've also got, I think it was just one random round, round 4 of season 1. I've got a draft analysis there as well, so if you guys want to check that out from last season, be my guest. If not, we've got some killer teams joining us this season. So I thought we would kick it off with a short draft analysis. Today, joining me this time is the coach of the newly formed Big Time Slush Rush, Coach Bryan.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
As many of you will know, Bryan has been a part of my channel a few times. He is of that one half of That Poker Duo.
There you go.
Go check out his channel, which I should be able to leave a link in the description for. He's joined me in the UGA, he's just joined us up in the VDL, and a few other little projects here and there as well. Usually he's the coach of the Charlotte P Drills. However, for this really chill league, he has decided to take up the mantle of Big Time Slush Rush.
Yes, sir. Big time Rush fan here. So it's like, let's just play homage to one of my favorite pop bands at the moment. So.
And it's a really cool logo as well. Was it Zam who created it?
Yeah, it was Zam.
Yeah, Zam, really talented guy. Much love, much appreciation. Really like the logo, to be fair. It really reminds me of back when Big Time Rush was on Nickelodeon. So yeah, This guy's captured that.
I showed my mom a couple the pilot just yesterday. She thought it was pretty funny.
So yeah, we've got joining us this season. We have got Dunican of the Middle of Marowaks again. We've got Michael of the Tokyo Terrors. We've got Dr. Dave H of the Crumach Colossals. We have got Brave of the Migrating Milotics, and we have Gaz of the Jersey Venusaur. This season, I'm using my Welsh Wooloos team because I'm not doing a singles league for a while, so I was like, yeah, let's bring Wooloo back again, the Wooloo team. And we have got the 2 newcomers to this league, yourself, Big Time Slush Rush, Bryan, and we have got Pat Mack, a really talented battler, both singles and VGC, Sacramento Sunslash. Really cool logo there as well. Just looking at this graphic that Brave did for us, because all the graphics here that you'll see, both this cover, this thumbnail, half of the logos are made by Brave, and the team sheets, they're all designed by Brave as well. He's a really talented artist, graphic artist. So yeah, big shout out to you, Brave.
Yeah, we're happy to have him to help us with our graphical needs.
And if you haven't already, check out the game room, which is run by Pat Mack and Brave, and I help out there as well. They've got some killer intros and stuff, again designed by Brave. So yeah, without further ado, we'll get on to this first round. So this might be a little bit different. So the way we've done the tier list for this is we've done it based on classes, like a class system, and it was kind of an inspiration done by basically witnessing the 6th season of the VDL, which is not the Victory Draft League. It's a different VDL hosted by Rex of the Warrior Esport. So they've got this tier list that basically they don't use legendaries. It's all season 10 and series 10 even. No Dynamax, and everyone is assigned a class. So you've got the champion, as represented here by Link. We've kind of done a adaptation of that for this, so it's not a direct copy, but it's strongly inspired by. So we've got the champion class, which is basically really top tier mons like your Glastria, your Celesteela, your base 600 stat mons and above, which is Heatran. You've got your pseudo legendaries, which is your Tyranitar, your Salamence, your Dragapult, and your Metagross, I think. They're all up there in the champion class, as well as some
of the sub legends are up there. I think some Swords of Justice are up there.
You got I think all the Swords of Justice. You've got some of the legendary birds. You've got basically any of the really strong mons or strong legendaries, plus the pseudo legendaries that are up there. Basically, you can only have one of them on your team, and there's no room for any others. Like just that one, and that's it. Next, we will go on to say about the Knight. So you've got the Knight, which is here by the Templar Knight represented. Second row, first across. He or she is basically any strong physical attacker of 115 base stat or higher is considered a knight or put into the knight tier. Then you've got the mage, which is any 105 base stat or higher special attacker. Then you've got your cleric or your healer, which is basically it's kind of a with a pinch of salt situation. Like you've got mons in there like Grimstyle and Morgrim, which have got dual screens, which aren't exactly healers, but they do a lot of like they basically they do like damage mitigation. So it's more of a damage mitigation, damage control, restoration, that type of thing. So you've got mons like Amoonguss in there with Pollen Puff. You've got mons like Vileplume with Pollen Puff. You've got Life Dew mons. You've got Heal Pulse mons. You've got Screens, Healing Wish, Lunar Dance, all that type of stuff. So a lot of those bulkier supportive mons that are just there to help the longevity of the supporting the wider array of the mons the team has. You've got the Rogue class, which is basically any mon roughly around 105 speed or higher, or any mon that has like an ability like Unburden or something that really shoots their speed up a lot as well. They're considered a rogue class, so that's your mons like your Weavile, your Lipard, your Hitmonlee, your Hawlucha. They're all no, not Hawlucha because that's another class, I think.
Well, no, Hawlucha is definitely. I'm looking at the tier list right now.
That's fine. So so Hawlucha, you've got your really fast ones like your Crobat, your Jolteon, your Espeon. All those type of ones, they're in the rogue class. They're typically described as being really fast. Might be a bit of a glass cannon, don't have the strongest defenses, which is why you've got mons like Weavile and Sneasel in there. Tapu Koko, which is an exception, it is a bit bulkier, but again it's legendary. Then your following mons are your Rangers. So you get 2 Rangers, which is basically a class that encompasses a jack of all trades type scenario. So it's got a bit of everything. They don't really overly excel in any one stat that more than another. So you have a lot of mons like you've got Venusaur in there, you've got Blastoise in there, you've got these are all really good mons, so they don't have a overly exaggerated stat. You've got I believe. I'm pretty sure the strongest mon in that category is Arcanine, which again, Arcanine's got one of the highest base stat totals, but because of none of its stats are like super strong in one more than the other, it kind of just falls into the Ranger class. And then lastly here, without the 2 special units at the top, you've got your 2 tanks. So it's basically any mon that's got a stat of 110 or higher in its HP, its defense or special defense. So it's subdivided again between them, which is why you get 2 of them. And it's up to the drafter who they want to draft. And then going back up to the top, second in the middle of the top row, you have got your Paladin, which is basically you get a free pick across all the classes of at least 1 extra Knight, Rogue, or Tank unit for the Paladin. And then for the one next to it, which is your Druid class, you get an extra Mage, Cleric, or Ranger. So it's kind of interesting how we're doing this draft. It's typically you do in a draft league. There's a multi-point system, so they'll be like tiered based on their relative
viability.
Viability or performance in the wider side of things. So like you've got really high units, high value Pokemon up in the higher tiers like A tier or S tier, or 15 pointers, 16 pointers. And then you've got your low tier trash, which is usually like your C or D tiers, your E tiers maybe, if that's what they are doing, or your 1, 2, 3 pointers. And what this has done with creating this class system is that they kind of disperse all throughout. So you will end up having a lot more top heavy teams, but throughout the entire team. So like literally every mon could be like a tier 1, tier 2 type thing in a typical draft. So it does create a bit more of a unique experience, but this is kind of more balanced for the Lord Helix Draft League, because what the Lord Helix Draft League does is that they go through rounds of draft. So every round, all 8 players play each other at least once, and then we save them scores, and they are added to the overall season score. And then round 2, we do a draft again, but we can't use any of the mons that have already been drafted. So it creates this unique scenario that yes, this season we'll have a lot of top-heavy teams in this first round, or not even top-heavy, like really strong teams in the first round. But then in subsequent rounds after and after and after, they'll become a lot more scarce. So you'll be using some really low tier mons in some of the later rounds, and I think that's kind of cool because you'll still have a few high tier picks, because obviously you're not going to go through all the champions in the first few rounds, so you'll always have a good champion no matter what round it is. So it still bounces out the overall season. You'll start with really good and end with really bad mons, but they can be really creative. And if anything, I'm more looking forward to these later rounds where we get to use some of these really obscure mons that just don't get used a lot. Even middle stage mons like Corvus Squire. Like, I'm just really looking forward to using mons like that in the later tiers, in the later draft rounds.
Yeah, definitely in the later rounds. I think like a lot of the Pokemon that are going to shine are like those NFE mons, or even the ones that have fully evolved but are typically in the lower tiers, like your Rapidash or something like that. I think those mons are really going to shine later on, much in our season.
Exactly, and what I really like about this initially, I haven't played a match yet, but initially in this class-based tier list, is how it kind of forces you to draft in a particular way, but it's more of an educational thing as well. So it's really good practice to like go, well, you need to split your mons for some for physical offense, some for special offense. You need some bulkier mons for good switch-ins, some supporters and stuff like that. So I think it's really good that it kind of reinforces this idea of what makes a good draft or a really deep draft. So you're not going to get a load of repeating mons that are repeating their roles on the team. So I think it could be really fun to start with. So even though, with that said, there are some incredibly bulky teams, there are some incredibly offensive teams, and I suppose at this point we've probably been going on quite a little bit now about just the initial bit. So yeah, I'm just checking the recording time. Sorry for ruining the illusion. But we can probably move on to the actual teams. I'm hoping that this has explained it well enough. I know it's a little bit of a complex explanation, a little bit long-winded, but hopefully you've stuck through it. And honestly, it's not that too bad. Like, once you get into it, it's just, at the end of the day, it's just another draft league. One thing I will say is that in previous seasons, we've had the winner of a round put in their pick first for round 2, so they would be able to like secure a mon in the second round regardless of the draft order, and they can pick it at any point within that draft. So like they can pick it in round 6, that could be their round 6 pick in the draft order, in the draft. But we're doing away with that this season, and instead we're going to play round 1 just vanilla. We're just going to do normal, these are our teams, play this 7 matches to be played, and that's that. But going into round 2, the winner will get to choose an item or a selection of items that they can be banned for that use around, for that entire round. So no one will be able to use, say, healing berries. So you're not allowed to put like citrus, Iapa, or Aguav, or whatever it's called. All those type of berries, you won't be able to use them. Or they might be like, no resist berries. So you don't get to get any super effective reducing damage berries on the team. Or they don't want damage boosting items. So no life or choice ban, all that type of stuff. So I think it'd be really cool. We haven't fully decided on the rules of that yet, but just a heads up for what some of the future rounds have got in store for us, basically. So, without further
And
ado,
these battles also are untimed for the most part. So, it could be a little bit before round 2, which is good because a lot of us are in other draft leagues as well that we might want to more prioritize over this one.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing about this is that we don't have a timer on when the matches have to be played by. Most of us are pretty active anyway, and we'll play or schedule to play whenever we can, and it's just about fitting it in. It's all about just having fun, taking the time with it anyway, not rushing each other. And most of these matches are played either on Showdown, so there's a less time, so it's easier for everyone. But we do occasionally have the odd matches uploaded and played on cartridge. So hopefully there'll be a few of those this season. If anyone's watching this who isn't in the Lord Helix server and you're wanting to see some of the matches, I'll leave the link to the Lord Helix Draft League server in the description. There'll be some Showdown replays available for people to watch if they want to watch them. And if not, then you can get in contact with us guys, and we've got some Draft League matches we upload onto respective YouTube channels. So
yeah, some of mine I'll upload to my channel, but some of them I think I'll just also stick to Showdown as well. It just depends on how I'm feeling that around the time of scheduling. So.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I just takes 5 minutes to build a team and then play it. So it's just really fun. It really tests your creativity as well. Like, we don't go too hard with like trying to win. It's more about like just testing sets out, testing ideas out, or just having a bit of fun. So
yeah,
let's move on because we've already been at this for quite some time.
Yeah,
it's a hard thing to go over. Like it's a new concept as well, so like it's unfamiliar to most people. So it's just get about explaining it well. But as I'm saying about these really top tier teams, like really strong ones, like you can see already, like your team, big time Slush Rush, Bryan. You've got Spectra as your champion. You've got a brilliant Togekiss, you've got decent Reuniclus, Excadrill, you've got Snorlax, Dragalge, Salazzle, like some real top tier mons. You've got a Azumarill, and then you've even got a Hail mode within all that. So
yeah,
it's just pointing out like there is going to be some real class mons on these teams, and there's going to be very little room to be like, oh well, this is weak or that's weak. So I'm not going to be doing these in ranked. These aren't rankings. These are just a post-draft analysis. It's just looking at the teams, what they've got, what are some of the strategies they've got, and just basically appreciating some really cool teams.
Yeah.
So I suppose, if anything, and we've heard a lot from me so far, how about you take the wheel a little bit and just talk us through some of your mons?
So basically, I thought for the first round of this draft, I thought we'd go like almost straight into my team name, the Slush Rush, big time Slush Rush. I thought we could play into that a little more. Definitely, as the later seasons go on, there definitely won't be. I'm not saying there's going to be a Slush Rush mode every week, but I thought for the first season, at the first round at least, we'll have a Slush Rush mode. I think that'd be pretty fun. So there's obviously the a couple of mons that work in Hail. We've got Alolan Ninetales to set the Hail. We've got Alolan Sandslash to abuse the Hail. And then we've got an extra mon that's actually immune to Hail itself in the Reuniclus with the
Magic Guard.
Overcoat and Magic Guard. Both Overcoat and Magic Guard ignore it. So, and then I thought about supporting them. So Togekiss supports the Hail. Could support the Hail mode as well. It can also support the Trick Room mode with the Dragalge, the Snorlax, and the Reuniclus. And then we've got decent special mode with like Fake Tears, Salazzle with Spectrier, or Fake Tears, Alolan Ninetales with Spectrier or Salazzle, or even Dragalge. So, and there's also Bulldoze mode I can go with. So there's a lot of things that this team can do, and some setup sweeping as well. So it's got a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. Obviously you've got the Firewater Grescore, Salazzle, Vileplume, Azumarill. Azumarill's a really strong mon in Series 10, especially if it's got redirection support. One of its best partners is Togekiss. And yeah, you could be like, oh, well, they're both weak to poison, but I mean, you do have 2 steel types in Sunslash and Excadrill. You've got 3 poison types, 2 of which resist poison. So yeah, like you've got decent support here. You've got 3 fairies, 3 poisons, which is fine. I will say, like, you've got a water grass type, which is similar speed tier, Slazzle, which is a lot higher as a fire type. You do have a dragon type in Dragalge, you've got your 2 steels, and you've got some fairies, so you've got really good core coverage. Snorlax is a great special defensive wall, maybe a little bit weaker on the defensive side on this team because you've got Snorlax and Dragalge, which are both special walls, so it might be a little bit prone to a physical mode, but like you do have a lot of mons like Togekiss, which really likes physical attackers. You've got Vileplume, which is pretty disruptive, and Spectria is a mon to be respected at all times anyway. So I think it's a really cool team. You've got a lot going on. I do like the ability to run Sludge Wave on like Salazzle or Dragalge next to Excadrill, Sandslash pretty reliably as well. You've got Fake Out on the team, albeit from just a singular mon. You've got the Trick Room, you've got pretty much everything you need other than maybe Tailwind. You do have 2 weather mons who really benefit from weather, such as Sun and Sand, but no setters for it, so it's a little bit more awkward to set up like a sunny day for Vileplume, but Vileplume's okay without Sun. Excadrill does really like Sand though, and maybe it just suffers a little bit from not having that Sand mode.
Yeah, I definitely feel like those 2 specifically were kind of just a little slapped on, but
I think Vileplume is a really fun mon.
I can find there's obviously other ways to run these mons other than Sand abusers or Sun abusers, so I'm sure
100%.
the way that I draft, and I'm gonna find a way to use them regardless. So
I mean, Effect Spore Vileplume is really fun, and Mold Break Excadrill I love, so yeah, there's definitely ways to do it. I think one of the scariest modes on this team, though, is like setup. Like you've got Togekiss plus Snorlax, Togekiss plus Azumarill, Togekiss plus Spectria. Like all those are really threatening.
Yeah.
So, really cool team. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. So, yeah, that's everything I've got to say about Big Time Slush Rush. Let's move on. So we move on to Brave and the migrating Milotics. And honestly, this team is just chock full of power. Like such good mons. And this is a perfect example of like a team that's going to be really heavy of really good mons. Like they've got Celesteela plus Rhyperior, Lightning Rod plus Celesteela. Come on, that's just really good. I know Rhyperior is not always the best mon in draft formats, but like it's so well supported. Like you've got Vikavolt, which is great as a Trick Room partner for Rhyperior. You've got the Trick Room setter in Brunerigus or Whimsicott. I don't think Malamar gets it, so I'm a little bit hesitant there to say it does. But that's really good with Whimsicott and the Reuniclus. You've got Hitmontop, again, another one really disruptive. You've got Double Intimidate because of Arcanine. You've got Kangaskhan, one of the best Fake Out users in the formats because it can just go Fake Out plus Last Resort, 2 powerful, 2 normal type moves, but it's got the ability Scrappy, so it's able to hit for ghost types, so there's no real checks to it other than like Steel or Rock. But you've got plenty for that with like Milotic, the mascot pick. Milotic is a great one. And Bolton, just so disruptive, so supportive, really good. It's got moves like Eerie Impulse, Nuzzle, Electrify, it's got Charm, it's got good supporter coverage if it wants to run competitive a lot of the time with like Thunderbolts and Volt Switches and stuff. Whimsicott, I mean, it is literally one of the best prankster mons in the format, so...
Yeah, and it could even, like, prankster, like, it could do, like, the prankster Trick Room thing where instead of a -7 priority, it's a -6, so it's like one of the faster Trick Room setters, weirdly enough.
Yeah, which means it's not able to be simply swapped out for, like, Whirlwind or Circle Throw. So yeah, really cool team that he's got here, and I really like the Whimsicott with the Tailwind in this team because it's got a lot of mid-speed mons. So you've got like Celesteela, Rhyperior, and Hitmontop, which can all benefit greatly from a bit of Tailwind. Malamar can benefit greatly. Vikavolt, you've got Kangaskhan, Milotic, Brunerigus. They're all not Brunerigus, but Milotic, all mons that are like that middle speed or a little bit lower that can really benefit from a really good Tailwind setter to just allow this team to hit hard from the gate and be bulky as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't even have to invest that much speed in some of these mid tiers. You can just try to get them to outspeed one or two of the faster mons, and then in Tailwind specifically, and then you're pretty golden.
Exactly, and it's not just that as well. Like Whimsicott can also do speed control through like Cotton Spore and stuff, which is a continual speed drop on the opposing side. So it's really good in this team. I'm just trying to think if there's any way that Malamar is really well supported. Obviously, you've got Prankster Fake Tears into Contrary Malamar, which really just gives it a huge boost in special defense. Pair that with
Eldegoss. It's really missing like the Eldegoss there. That would have been really fun to see on this team with the Cotton Down ability affecting the entire field, so it would raise the Malamar's speed instead of lowering it while lowering your opponent's Pokemon. So it's really missing that Pokemon, but there are definitely ways to abuse the Contrary with the superpowers. And all that kind of stuff.
I don't think he gets any strength sap on this team, but something he does get, Malamar's not the strongest special attacker, but he does have a really fast Eerie Impulse with Bolton to really boost the special attack with the Malamar.
Yeah.
If that's a route he wanted to go down. There's also obviously Discharge with Bolton plus Rhyperior. What basically the better one obviously is Disquake. Disquake is so huge for this team. Rhyperior plus Vikavolt. Two of the strongest users of their respective moves, like 140 or 145 Discharge from Vikavolt, a 130 or 135 or 140. I don't even know the attack stat of Rhyperior. I just know it's really strong. And with that Levitate, the Vikavolt paired with Celesteela, which is a flying type, like those three mons alone are threatening.
And Discharge with that 30% chance to paralyze, that's going to be really hard to really get around for a lot of these teams.
There could even be a case where the Rhyperiors ran special Rhyperior Lightning Rod with Discharge with Whimsicott in the back.
Ground types get the special attack boost? I thought ground types didn't get.
Yeah, no, they get the Lightning Rod special attack boost.
Okay.
I saw a special Rhyperior this last week in the VDL, so I know for sure Rhyperior can definitely be a threat with that way. It's got a good special move pool as well with access to moves like Ice Beam and stuff. So yeah, really good team. There's a lot that's going on here, and I feel like I'm going to be saying this about every team so far. Every team is just really good, really solid. It's so hard to identify like specific modes and stuff because they're just such good mons. Like every team is just full of good mon after good mon. So we move on to Dunican. Urshifu, super strong mon as the champion pick here. We see immediately he's got Weezing plus Archeops, which I think is really fun. You've got that neutralizing gas to pair with the removal of Defeatus, so the Archeops isn't hindered by its ability. You've got Lightning Rod Marowak, which is really good paired with like Archeops, Talonflame and stuff. This team is like neutrally weak to Electric as well, so other than Eldegoss, Lightning Rod and Swampert, like Electric's hitting most of the team, so having that Lightning Rod really good. Stoutland, great Intimidator, decent attack stat as well at like 110, so for a all-round mon, really good pickup. Swampert again, slightly bulky, a little bit weak to grass, but you've got some good switch-ins in the case of like Talonflame or Eldegoss. They can really tank those grass type hits nicely. And one of my favourite mons is the healer that we've picked, which is Uxie. And I feel like Uxie is one of these mons that is super bulky, really good support, and it just stays around. Like you're not always guaranteed to one-shot a Uxie, especially if you're the team with Urshifu. You're not going to be bringing a lot of Ghost or Dark types against this team.
Right.
Which is why mons like the Marowak, the Setup, Poltergeist and Uxie are really well supported.
Yep.
Haven't even touched upon like Talonflame with its one of the best tailwinds of the game, obviously having access to a really fast quick guard to stop fake out, or just protect. It can also then set up Tailwind the following turn, and you've got mons like Urshifu which really benefits from Tailwind. You've got like Marowak which can. You've got Swampert, Stoutland. They can really benefit from this, from a Tailwind being set up. And he's even got like a decently reliable trick room mode in Carbink as well. Like other than that 4 times weakness to Steel, Carbink has got like base 150 in both defenses.
Yeah. Super bulky. It's going to be really hard to two-hit KO the Carbink to stop a trick room mode. It's going to be really hard to do.
And you pair that with the fact that most people wanted to run Steel types against the Carbink. Well, you've got a Marowak there with Fire, just waiting to hit it super hard. So you've got a lot of hard offense on this team, and some really decent bulky support options as well. Might be a little bit too invested in the physical side, maybe, with Poltergeist being the only real special attacker. Because if they've used their Mage for Poltergeist, which is a bit of a setup special attacker, and then you've got Eldegoss, which is your Druid in this, which is another secondary healer instead of a secondary Mage. So your special attackers here are basically like Swampert, maybe Power, her Archeops, and your
Weezing.
So Weezing, Weezing as well. I think he's got like 90 or so special attack. So Talonflame around 80.
Yes,
Definitely
a more physical team.
At least that's where the pressure's coming from, is the physical offense.
Yeah, a lot of physical offensive pressure. And even the Archeops. Did you say Archeops in the special? Because it gets like
Meteor being decent special attacks. Yeah. I think it's base special attacks 60, but like a +1 Meteor beam stab can really help it.
It's like 112. It's like 112. It's actually like really good. I'll look it up. I'm pretty sure it's like 112 because Defeatus cuts both the attack and special attack.
I'm not sure. And now I'm very curious. Archeops. We are doing
at 112 special attack, 140 attack, 112 special attack.
Oh wow, that's a lot higher than I first thought, to be fair. I mean, that already puts it within the realm to be a mage if it was, if it so wanted to be. Obviously, that physical attack is that much higher though, so.
But it's definitely got a more physical move pool than a special move pool.
Mm-hmm.
At least this season, anyway.
So, that's Dunican's team. Don't really have much more to say. I mean, it's got really good support with like Swampert and Stoutland. I really like those 2 mons. You've got Yawn, you've got Baby Doll Eyes, you've got Icy Wind, you've got a plethora of attacks from Stoutland. Eldegoss, really good with the Cotton Down type thing. And Regenerator, just outliving with like Leech Seed and stuff like that. So yeah, really solid team. It's a very Dunican team, I feel like. He really likes his teapots, and Talonflame's been used a lot by him. So, he's got. Obviously, I really like that mascot pick with the Marowak. So, we shall see how he does this season. I'm hoping to play him first, to be honest. I've already prepped myself a team for him. Really excited to play you, Dunican. I think this might be the season you manage to you'll take a win from this. So, I think it could be really cool, really fun. Really looking forward to it. Always great to play. So yeah, that's Dunican's team. We move on to Gazelby with the Jersey Venusaur. I haven't actually spent a lot of time on this team to really look at it. You've got the Fire, Water, Grass core of Flareon, Tentacruel, and Trevenant, which is really a unique core considering like those are usually the lower end of the tier list for your Fire, Water, Grass types, but they fill the roles that they need to pretty well. Like Trevenant's not a bad ranger. Tentacruel's got high special defense. Flareon's got a decent 130 base attack plus guts. So you've got 2 mons on this team, 3 mons on this team, 4 mons on this team that have guts. This is a very gutsy team he's got going on here.
Yep. Flareon, 4 guts users indeed.
Yeah, Flareon,
Luxray, Obstagoon, and Throw all carry guts.
Yeah, and then he's got like.
You see all 4 of those. One of those is likely. 2 of them are likely to be running guts with either the Toxic or the Flame Orb.
Yes, and obviously Flareon can only run Flame Orb, Toxic Orb.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of a cool idea because he's got Comfey on this team, which is one of the most annoying mons ever to exist. Mm-hmm. And so he's got a really reliable way to keep these gut mons from dying to their own like damage recoils. So really good in that respect. You got Zoroark, which is super annoying to face because you never know quite what you're facing when you're fighting with Zoroark. And what's really cool is that he does have a ghost type to pair with it with the Trevenant, which is really nice. You've got a lot of mons here that could be running stuff like Flamethrower or Shadow Ball and stuff, which is a lot of what Zoroark's, illusionary moves that it likes to run to stop it from being caught out too soon. Aerodactyl, really fast mon, really reliable tailwind setter because it's got that 130 base speed. Really helps mons like Flareon, the Obstagoon and the Luxray. These gut sets really start to outspeed the opponent's side. And we haven't even spoken about the Landorus Incarnate, which is just so strong with that sheer force life orb. Like, it's possibly the second strongest sheer force user, but the most popular sheer force user.
Yeah, because it can hit really well on both the physical and special sheer force.
Yeah, and so many times this Landorus just run as a mixed Landorus as well, with like Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, Rock Slide. Landorus is so just really good. It's such a solid wall breaker.
Does really well in these non-Dynamax formats. People tend to favor the Therian and the Dynamax formats, but this is definitely, as we're in a non-Dynamax format, this is definitely one of those where Landorus can shine really well.
And what I really like about this team as well is that you can't even go reliably to intimidate it for its guts users, because you've got the Obstagoon, which can be running Defiant. And obviously Clear Body Tentacruel is really nice. And we haven't even said anything about the Slowbro. It's not to say like it's the weak part of the team. It's definitely got some decent defenses and offenses. But
mixed attacker via a mixed attacker with its
shell sidearm.
It attacks in 100 each, and then its shell sidearm, which is both a physical and a special move, depending on which one actually is going to do the most damage at the time. So
it's really cool team. I think he's deliberately gone for this guts mode, which is really cool.
I've been the victim of a ghost type pairing with the Zoroark as of late, so I definitely know the power of the Zoroark there. So,
really solid. Really liking these teams. I'm really excited to see how creative they can be. What I also haven't really mentioned on, but I will just say, is like the Comfey can technically pair with like Obstagoon, Throw, or the Zoroark for like weakness policy proccing. I don't know how reliable that would be, but Comfey, obviously decent Trick Room setter, Helping Hand, Floral Healing. It's got all these supportive moves, which makes it super annoying to face. That's the Jersey Venusaur. We can have a look now at the Tokyo Terrace. Now, when I started this, I said about how there's some bulky teams, and this is the one I was most referring to. I mean, you've got one of the bulkiest water types, Blastoise. You've got Venusaur, which is bulky. You've got Cresselia, Mandibuzz, and Umbreon. You're never going to break through this team. Torkoal, high defense. Stack Attacker, high defense. Umbreon is a special wall. Cresselia is a mixed wall. You've got Mandibuzz that can be either, depending on what you want.
You can run even Hawlucha very bulky with the Grassy Seed.
Yeah, I wouldn't particularly say like Hawlucha is the bulkiest on that scene. I think the others are still bulkier. But what I do like is that, you've got that Rillaboom plus Hawlucha mode, which is super threatening. Like, you don't want to be facing that down. Like, he's got all this bulk, and then he's got a really solid terrain mode, which is really offensive. Like, Rillaboom and Hawlucha put on a lot of pressure to like certain mons. Obviously, they can be checked, but it's really good. And you don't even have to run Grassy Seed with the Hawlucha. You can run Grassy Seed on any of the other mons. Like, imagine a Grassy Seed Cresselia with Carmine. It's just super strong. Raichu, really good mon, one of the best supported mons in the format. I don't know if it really supports this team overly well because of the Lightning Rod, obviously, but it is supporting Mandibuzz, which is, again, keeping that mon alive. Hawlucha, Hawlucha can die to other attacks, so who cares? And Blastoise, which again is a mon you've got to be really careful of. I do think the Blastoise is more encouraged to be used a grass move against because of the grassy terrain and stuff. But like grass moves are really bad against this team. You've got Venusaur, Maractus, Rillabooms. You've got the Mandibuzz, Hawlucha. You've got Torkoal. Like it's a lot of grass resist. So Blastoise is really well protected on this team. Umbreon, you're never gonna beat this. Some of this bulk. It's going to be so difficult. It's going to require a lot of creativity, I think. I think straight up offense might just be not the way, unless you've got some really OP mons. Michael's almost always going to be able to do exactly what he wants to do that first turn outside of Fake Out. And we haven't even mentioned, he's got the Sunmo, he's got Venusaur, he's got Venusaur and Torkoal, plus Maractus, which is a chlorophyll mon if it so wishes. It could be Storm Drain, which is really good for like against Torkoal and Stakataka. It's just such a solidly bulky team.
Yeah, this team is gonna be really hard to break down. We're gonna see a lot of timer stalls. It's a lot of, well, not necessarily timer stalls, but like longer matches in general. There's not gonna be a lot of there might not be a lot of ways to outbulk them or just wall break them. There's not going to be a lot of ways to do that.
It's going to take a lot of wall breaking. It's going to be fixated around taking out that Raichu as quickly as you can, stopping the Umbreon from just PP stalling you. It's going to take a lot to beat this team, I think. Because not only has it got really strong defensive pressure, but it's got really strong offensive pressure in the form of Rillaboom, in the form of Chlorophyll, Life Orb, Venusaur, in the form of Beast Boost, Stack Attack with Body Press, or even just Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, Blastoise with a Water Spout. It's such a strongly offensive team. And defensive, it's really good. It's really well balanced on that side. I don't know how much I like the 3 grass types on this team.
Yeah.
But especially when you've got Sun. But so probably Fire is a really good type to use against this team because there's literally only one mon that checks it, which is Blastoise and Torkoal. So 2. So like Fire could probably hit pretty decently into this team, but again can be hit back just as hard with Blastoise, so you don't even need to win Torkoal. So yeah, really good team. I'm scared to face it. Okay, so we now move on to the Krumich Colossals. And talking about fire, here is the living volcano itself, Entei, the eruption Pokemon. We've got Entei, Gyarados, Dracovish, and Amoonguss. Like, you can see that top row is just such a solid fire, water, grass core.
Yep.
Like, Gyarados is obviously a little bit underpowered in a non-max format due to its inaccurate coverage and its 2 turns for its secondary stab move, for like bounce, just to get a secondary stab. But Entei, inner focus with the fire typing, meaning that you can't intimidate it, you can't burn it, is so strong. Because it's able to just get off like Choice Scarf attacks or Choice Banded attacks or just solid defenses whilst hitting hard without having to worry about like its stats being dropped or its damage output being reduced. It is a little bit frailer than it could possibly like, but I still think Entei is one of the best, if not the best, fire type to have in this Series 10 format. And that's without even getting into the fact that he's got Mamoswine and Vanillux, which is pretty cool. I really like the Vanillux here. I think there is reason to run a special Mamoswine on some occasions, and I know Dr. Dave would be more than willing to. Entei, again, another mon that can be run special. Grimmsnarl, he's got this, one of the best support mons in the game, Grimmsnarl, with Fake Tears, Screens, like it's going to be supporting a lot of this team. A lot of the mons he's got that are physical can be run special as well, so it's kind of cool that he's got this ability to really up the power level of those special mons.
Yep.
He's got Tapu Koko, one of the best, fastest mons in the game.
Also another mixed attacker there with...
Exactly.
Yep.
with a decent special move pool, really good physical move pool. Like it's really well supported. You've got this combination of Sand plus Dracovish, which again super threatening. Like Hippowdon with Dracovish, he's going to be hitting hard and fast a lot of the time. Like the damage output on this team is super high. You got Nidoking, Sheer Force, Life Orb, but it can be Choice Scarf. It can be Focus Sash. It can be Specs, Banded. It could be Black Sludge if he really wanted to. There's a lot of things Nidoking can do, and because he's got such a really strong offensive team as it is, like he doesn't even have to rely on Nidoking to always do the damage, or he can be used as like a late game sweeper after some damage has been done, just with a Choice Scarf and really go to town. And I feel like that's the same like Vanillux. Like Vanillux is able to just go Choice Scarf Blizzards and just do damage.
Yeah.
Hippo,
It's kind of a solo Blizzard spam, unfortunately. Well, Nidoking also does get Blizzard, so there are definitely other ways to run Blizzard spam, but
100%. Like Mamoswine gets Blizzard, and Nidoking, you get I think Gyarados even gets Blizzard, so like if you wanted you could run a special Gyarados. I don't think it's always the best option, but obviously Dr. Dave is really creative with his sets. And what scares me the most, some of these really bulkier sets. So like, he's got this Arachnid on this team, which could easily go for stockpiles, Aqua Ring, and stuff like that, and really make this mon unkillable with stockpiles, Aqua Ring, Substitute, plus Scald. And it's able to just, with that water bubble, just do damage, or even liquidation, because it can't be burned.
it's also a wide guard mon, so he could protect his team from rock slides, earthquakes, incoming blizzard spams, heat waves, all that kind of stuff. So.
And it's really well supported with being able to set up next to Amoonguss again. Like this Amoonguss was really good for this team to set up, other than maybe Hippowdon, which is probably one of the only other mons on this team I'm really scared for setup. Like we've seen what he does with Hippopotas in UGA. It's just stockpiles up, rests up, slack offs to get health up. It can whirlwind, it can do all sorts, and he can just fire off fissures. He doesn't even need offensive pressure on this Hippo. He can just be there, fire off fissures. He's got Sheer Cold on the Vanillux as well. This team is... Dr. Dave is going to have so much fun with this team. He's not going to know where to start when he comes to build.
Yeah.
He's got Terrain. He's got Dual Weather, which may be a little bit conflicting, but he's going to have a great time with this team. Anything else?
No, I think we're good. Okay. We're good on this. A lot.
Like Amoonguss is going to be so well supported for this team. It is going to be supported well. Like Dragon Dance, Gyarados, I think even Dracozolt can run be physical special as well for like Meteor Beam stuff. I've seen it be done. I think it's got like a 75 base special attack, which isn't awful. But obviously he's got better special attackers on his team. So
yeah.
Okay, so we move on to the Welsh Wooloos.
Yeah.
I think I'm one of the only people who's running Eviolite. I'm just running back across all the other teams. Wow, yeah. I'm the first team to be running a mon that can run Eviolite. That's just how powerful these teams are at the moment. And you can see here, like, I've got Thundurus as my champion. Thundurus, in my opinion, is one of, if not the best Prankster mons in the format. It's also got the ability Defiance, so again, it doesn't threaten. My team isn't as threatened by like Intimidate and stuff, or even stat drops, which is really nice. Talking about stat drops, I've got Incineroar, really good offensive fire type. I actually picked up Incineroar because if I needed a fire type, I needed a dark type, and I was just like, I've never ran Incineroar in a draft league. Let's have a bit of fun with it, see what I can do with it. I just needed it for some type coverages and like defensive typing, and so like Incineroar obviously is really well known for that type defensive typing, so or defensive capabilities. So I was like, yeah, why not? Let's have a bit of fun with it. Mudsdale, one of my first few pickups to pair with Thundurus really well. Like it gives me that immediate Disquake mode with Earthquake, Mudsdale plus Discharge Thundurus. Obviously, it's not the strongest of these modes around. Like a 130 attacks out from Mudsdale is really good, and Thundurus is pretty decent, like 115, 125 special attack. So really offensive, and also you got like that own tempo with the Swagger Thunderous if you really wanted to do that. I've also got Swagger Pressure from Morgrim if I wanted. So I can go into the Mudsdale as well. And something that's really cool is I've also got the Wheezing. Now, what's cool about that Wheezing is that it gets neutralizing gas, yes, although my team does heavily rely on some of their abilities. So what I like more about this Wheezing is this Misty Terrain, because of it pairs with the Swagger modes I'm running, so I can be running Swagger on other mons and really boost the attack up whilst having that Misty Terrain up on the field, so they can't be confused and still be able to boost their attacks out. I really like the Misty Terrain because if I can run Misty Seed without having to run Assault Vest on some of my mons, so I'm able to run Misty Seed, Mudsdale, and do some setup stuff with maybe Iron Defense or something, or run Protect, or I can run Misty Seed, Mimikyu, and get a special defense boost without having to do anything before the disguise is broken, and then Sword Stance whilst the disguise is up. I mean, that's, I think, a really cool combo there. I've got really reliable screens with Morgrim, getting that prank some screens up if I want to do some damage mitigation. And then Suicune, one of the best water types in the format again, super solid, Tailwind. It's really good on this team, I think, because a lot of the mons are like middle speed tier, so like that 70 to 90 speed, some of them are even a bit lower. So it really helps Suicune because of he's well supported defensively here, he can really be brought in on a lot of these mons, taking some damage, really good behind the screens. It's just, I just really appreciate bulky water types, and Suicune is everything I need on this team to fill that role. Some of the other mons on this team are a little bit more niche, so I've gone for Espeon as my rogue, because I wanted a mon that had like Terrain Pulse, and I wanted a mon that had Weather Ball. And so I decided I'd go for, because I have Thunderous, so I was like, I need to abuse the fact that I can go Prankster Rain Dance, which is why I've gone like Suicune, because I can do some decent damage. It means I can run a bulkier Suicune while still having a decent water type damage output. And I was like, I could go for a decent Weather Ball with Espeon, like it doesn't get water coverage, and it'd be kind of cool to run as well.
Yeah.
I really like, I also wanted to see how good I could use Espeon in a draft format. I don't often use Espeon, so I thought it would be kind of cool chance to use. Same with Porygon Z, really. I just wanted a normal type and I only had really available for like a mage or something, so I was like, yeah, I'll go for Porygon Z. If I didn't go for Morgrim, I probably would have got Porygon 2 because I preferred Porygon 2. But I didn't really want to be conflict for that Eviolite each week.
Right. Yeah.
And then the last two mons of this team I really like is I've got Lucario on this team, and yeah, I can run it justified with maybe a Sucker Punch from the Morgrim or something, maybe a beat up strategy here or there. But what I really like is the fact that it can be ran with Terrain Pulse and stuff, so it's a decent special attacker. It gets Fake Tear support from Morgrim. Terrain Pulse plus Misty Terrain with the Wheezing means it's able to hit other fighting types pretty hard, which is something that's really nice for Lucario or other dragon types and stuff, where I have to rely on that Dragon Pulse whilst also reducing the dragon type damage done against it. I do realise that on this team I don't have a dragon type, so I am missing the terrain cores, but the type cores, but I really like the steel type. I really like the fairy types I've got on this team. I don't think dragon's the be all end all on a team. I think if you can go defensive typing elsewhere, then it's probably better to not have dragon. And I really like the defensive typing for this team. And lastly, Decidueye. I really love Decidueye. It's one of my favourite mons, and I decided to go for Decidueye as my grass type because if it pairs really well with Cinnamorough for type coverage. So like they're able to switch on each other really well. Nothing that's super effective against one is super effective against the other. They work really well together.
That's all you're missing.
I know, but I always run Primarina, so it's really cool to be running the other two this time around. And I don't know, I really like Decidueye. I really want to see if I can make it work. And yeah, I'm a big fan of this team. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, looks a lot of fun, I think.
So, yeah.
3 faster mons with Trick Room, but I don't think that's the worst thing because you do have one of the better Trick Room setters with that Mimikyu there as well.
Yeah, and again, like, yeah, Mudsdale likes Trick Room, but I don't think it's a mon that necessarily needs to be in Trick Room. I've got really good ways of proccing the stamina boosts on it for defensive capabilities, or it can be ran alongside Thunderous. And yeah, Porygon Z gets Trick Room, so does Espeon and Mimikyu. But as you say, like on this team, really, the only ones that are going to be really wanted to be run inside Trick Room are maybe like Weezing. Weezing doesn't even want to be run inside Trick Room, doesn't care. It's literally just Mudsdale. So
yeah,
I've got good counter Trick Room in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that is the Welsh Wooloos, and I think they're going to be having a lot of fun. It's a shame that there's only going to be about 7 rounds of games. Going to really deal with a few more with this team.
You can't get too attached to this one, Matrix.
I know. I feel like this is a really good balance of like Mons I'm familiar with and Mons that I've never played with.
Right.
So I think again I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. We move on to our last team, the Sacramento Sunslash. And it's really interesting. You can see while he was drafting this team, he was going a little bit more fun with it type thing. I mean, he first picked up Ninetales plus Leafeon, a really cool, solid Suncore, being on that double pick. I think it's really cool. I think Leafeon is decently defensive. I think Leafeon has a lot of potential, and I like to see how that goes. But then I think he realizes halfway through the draft he needs a little more offensive pressure. He picked up like Toxapex, Flygon and stuff, and then he goes, oh, everyone else has got some really solid, like really strong teams. And so he ends up picking up the Thunderous Therium and the Darmanitan Galar, which are 2 of the strongest Mons in their tiers. Like, you've got probably the strongest physical attacker in Darmanitan with the Guerrilla Tactics plus like Life Orb or Choice Band even. It's never going to run Life Orb, it's always going to be Choice Band or Choice Scarf if it's Guerrilla Tactics. Or Assault Vest. And you've got Thunderous, which is like a 145 base special attacking mon. Really solid, really strong. It's also a really good it's a really good discharge user next to Gastrodon, because Gastrodon really pressures like the opposing rock types really well, which is something Thunderous doesn't like taking hits from. Both are weak to like freeze dry and stuff, but like you've got a Ninetales there, it's really good. Flygon again is another mon 4 times weak to ice or that and that. But Exeggutor's really cool, really good for the Sun mode. I think Klefki is an amazing mon, a really good prankster mon. I think it's one of the better valued prankster mons. You've got a really solid champion here in Terrakion. Like, it's such a strong mon. 129 base attack is nothing to be scoffed at, especially when it's coming off Terrakion, which can be just boosted by like a Sucker Punch here or there. But more importantly, on this team, it's got exactly where I was getting to there. Like on this team, more importantly, it's got the beat up with the Persian, which I'm pretty sure Alolan Persian is faster than Terrakion as well. Or at least
that person has 115 base speed, so
yeah, for the 109 base speed. Terrakion or something. So yeah, like it's a really good support there. I really like Alolan Persian as well. Like Icy Wind Technician, it's got Fake Out Technician, it's got Foul Play Stab, it's just got Fate Tears as well. Meowth Alola doesn't have Fate Tears, but Persian does. It's just got a really solid move pool, supportive move pool. It's got Hypnosis, it's got Fur Coat if it wants as a ability instead of Technician. And yeah, like it's just really good. Toxapex again, really solid defensive switch in as well. Like facing a Toxapex and Gastrodon is to me like literal hell, especially when you've got monsters as offensive as Terrakion, Darmanitan and Thunderous. I feel like prepping for this team is going to be incredibly hard.
Yeah.
That's basically all I can say. I mean, obviously you can go for like Surf with the Toxapex next to the Gastrodon if you want to do like some Storm Drain stuff. You've got Harvest Exeggutor as well. I wouldn't say Exeggutor is the most reliable Trick Room setter, but I feel like the team doesn't really want to be playing in Trick Room anyway, and it's more of a Chlorophyll Sleep Powder mon with like Wide Lens or something. That can be really annoying to face.
Yeah.
So, super solid. Literally every team here, A-star, A-star, A-star. They're just too many good mons on these teams because the tier list allows for too many strong mons. But I think it's a really cool change of pace from the usual teams that we get, which are heavily restricted, heavily nerfed. I think it's just going to be a bit of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we think we get a lot of high-powered matchups in this season, and then as the rounds go on, they're going to be less overpowered and a lot more gimmicky and fun. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've got to start it off somewhere, get rid of some of the more higher tier mons. I mean, after this round, you've lost already A-star mons like Spectre, Incineroar, Venusaur, Torkoal. You're losing all these really high-powered mons. You're losing basically the only two Sunsetters in the entire format, which is Torkoal and Ninetales. Straight out the gate, you're losing a Hail Setter, you're losing a Sand Setter, you're losing Rillaboom, you're losing all these really strong mons just across 8 teams, which means that in the subsequent rounds, when maybe 1 or 2 teams just drop out for a round, you're still going to be having a heavily reduced power level going into like round 2, even 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our thoughts, or at least my thoughts, more so, as I did run away a little bit with this. That's basically our thoughts on the drafting analysis of the round 1 of the second season of the Lord Helix Draft League. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed listening into this, and I haven't lost too many of you during this long talk. But if you want to check out the Lord Helix server, I'm hopefully going to post a link at least a day or so after I've probably uploaded this video. And yeah, like, we'd love to have you join in and just support, watch, maybe even playing around. Who knows? We're always looking for more people to play with us. As I say, it's a really chill league. We're not heavy on deadlines. It's literally just for fun, just to try out things. It's a cool little community we have here. Hopefully some of you guys come over and check us out, or just stay tuned and watch some of the videos. So
Exactly.
Until next time, thanks for joining me today, Bryan.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And catch you all in the next one. Peace out, guys.
Alrighty. Peace out, guys.
See ya.